Welcome back to another Shooter's Roll. It's the beginning of the week and I'm excited, man. This is what I wait for every week to talk to my boys, talk about basketball, because during this time in the pandemic, I don't want to know about anything else but basketball. So today we're going to mainly concentrate on the Lakers, all the additions and all the subtractions and what it means for the new 2021 season. And then we'll touch base on a couple of other things happening in the NBA. But if you're new here, subscribe, click on notifications. We release basketball content at the moment once a week, but we're looking to increase that number. So jump on, get involved, and let's get to the video. So I'd like to introduce my co-host for today. We got the boy, the demon, wearing a brand new merch. What is that shirt? RJ, please explain to me. Please explain to everyone.
This is at the moment. This is a one-of-one tank top that I had made for the Shooter's Roll. So just that's all I got to say. But it's all good, man. I mean, it's all about basketball and everything basketball related.
Cool, man. Yeah, it's good that I have yourself on the channel, being a LA fan from last season. Let's get into it. So there's been a lot of moves. Typically, when a team wins a championship, they don't make that many changes. Like there's always have this thing where they bring it back, even though the team's bad. Miami Heat, when the one in 2016, I thought I'm not sure it was 2016, but the year Dwayne Wade was MVP. They ran it back, but that team, I thought that they should have changed. So this year, the Lakers, even though they won, they didn't stay stagnant. They made a lot of changes. I personally think the changes are for AD, to basically show AD that they're building around him rather than LeBron. Because you see in the past where the Cavs had a lot of old players, and like Kyrie didn't want to stay because the team was based around LeBron. So let's look at all the subtractions from the championship team. So we lost Avery Bradley. He wasn't in the bubble, but great defender, reliable shooter, solid two-way guy, mainly defense rather than offense. You got Rajon Rondo, player of Rondo, big loss. You got Dwight Howard, and then you got JaVale McGee and Danny Green. So those are the key foundation pieces that helped the Lakers win the championship. And then incoming, we had Wesley Matthews to replace Danny Green, Marcus Gasol, Montrezl Harrell to replace Dwight Howard, to replace JaVale McGee, and then we had Dennis Schroeder. So last year the team was very defense oriented, having Dwight and having McGee in the middle. It was hard to score. With that combination too, it actually more Dwight. It allowed them to get through to through the Nuggets. Dwight pretty much shut down the Joker. Okay, let's start with I guess the subtractions. What are your thoughts, RJ, on those five key subtractions? Your thoughts?
Man, you're right. I actually don't know the thinking behind this moves. I mean, it's pretty. You think about it, it's all the important guys on the squad. So they've shifted all, and they didn't want to sign him. I mean, I think it's because due to the age. I think they were looking at the age, because if you look at Rondo, he's aging. He's probably got a year or two left. Then they've lost Dwight. They didn't want. They initially had an agreement with Dwight, but Dwight got too antsy and signed with Philly instead. And I think LA didn't want to match whatever Philly offered after that. I mean, McGee's been a great move in that lineup, and now they shifted on to Cleveland. I just don't understand. I just want to know the reason why they did that, because now they've lost two bigs, so they've lost JaVale and they've lost Dwight, and in essence they sort of made up for it with with Mark Gasol and Montrezl Harrell. Yep. Montrezl Harrell is too inconsistent for me. I just don't think he's. Well, we'll see, because it's a system. It's like a system. They always bring out the best in you. But Montrezl as a player, I don't really see him as someone who's really going to stop the middle or that dominate. You know what I mean? Like in comparison to Dwight, who's redeemed himself last year, and JaVale, and redeemed himself for the last couple of years. You know, making Shaq look full and stuff like that. But those two guys have redeemed themselves and have proven it. So I'm sure Montrezl will be the third person after those that will redeem themselves in the Lakers system. But we'll see. I mean, but I'm sure they've got one more move up the sleeve. I'm pretty sure they've got one more move up the sleeve. So, yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, because Danny Green was stated to make 15 million this year. But by them getting rid of him and then getting Shooter and then replacing Danny Green's defense with the Arrow. so with the Arrow, so yeah, so I think it was cost effective because you think about every team that wins a championship, right? So they had Wesley Matthews, or what I mean by the Arrow. Every time she shoots a three, he has an arrow thing. So I think that regardless of them, they still want to win the championship, but they didn't want to keep all the old guys, right? They wanted to show AD that there's a couple of guys that they can build around and contend, right? So once LeBron retires, however long that is, then the centerpiece is AD. And you look at how AD played last year. AD is a post-up player, but because he had Dwight Howard and he had McGee in the paint, he couldn't really be that post-up player, not with them on the court. So he became like a stretch four. If you replace Dwight and McGee with guys that can shoot, you got Marcus Gasol, and then you have Montrezl Harrell. They can shoot and they can attack a bit more. Probably more Marcus Gasol can shoot threes. So that means AD can operate inside, and LeBron can operate inside. And if they get double, triple team, they have shooters all around now. Because you look at their starting lineup. Let's just say the starting lineup is Wesley, LeBron, KCP, and then you have AD, and then you have Mark. I would say that because with Wesley Matthews, when he signed, I think there was a handshake agreement that he's going to start. So we'll see how that goes. And then you have key guys coming off the bench, Dennis Schroeder, and then you got Montrezl, and they won't have any handcuffs, right? Because you just see every team, right? Every team needs to have a balance because you got LeBron and AD have to get their looks, in their starting lineup. If they put Schroeder in and they put Montrezl in the starting lineup, that's four guys that need the ball and actually need to shoot. And I know they can balance, but you want Shooter and you want Montrezl to be who they are, right? So you got six man and you got the run-up six man, and that bench unit can based on last year's stats, they can fill it up by 50 points off the bench, right? And that moves the Lakers from bottom of the table in terms of points off the bench to become possibly the highest bench of points off the bench. So in that category, so in that way, LeBron and AD can have more nights, more rest. I think. So I feel this is the way that's behind it. I'm just putting my GM hat in because we don't have Lloyd here. So that's the way I see it. And then the second thing is the scoring. Like we saw last year when LeBron went to the bench. The Lakers were like -10. On terms of efficiency, like they couldn't keep up with it. Like LeBron had to touch the ball, even in that AD and the whole starters on the court. With LeBron off the court, they literally couldn't score. So when he went off, they lost leads. When it was a close game, he couldn't sit down. So it was one of those things that there was a bigger load on LeBron because you think about the whole team, right? You think about in the bubble, where it was mainly LeBron and was AD that had the ball during the crunch time and during the finals, right? And they were relatively fresh. You think about the season, if they play all these new guys, if they can remain the team to like a top three in the East, top three in the West, that's enough. And then you start ramping up LeBron, you're ramping up AD, closer to finals, you're playing a bit longer, and then hopefully they get another championship. Yeah. So another key thing was the players getting younger, which I mentioned. but key thing is defense, right? What do you think about the defense? You mentioned it just then. What are your thoughts? Are we going to get worse before we get better?
I don't, oh man, because when they lost Avery, and I thought, man, you've lost a good perimeter defender. You lost Rondo, another great perimeter defender, and internal defender too. In making up for it, they got instead Wesley Matthews, which is not bad, I think. Montrez apparently is, he calls himself the modern day Dennis Rodman. Okay,
that's big shoes to fill. You win. You basically wins 5 championships first, or at least one, and then you can mention something. Yeah.
Yeah, and then get 10 injections at the same time. But yeah, I think they were stronger last season. But look, I don't want to undermine them because again, they've got a great system, and it's led by, we all know, by LeBron. So again, they could turn it around. I would like to say that they're better this season, but we'll have to see because again, there's very little time to gel. It's going to be starting in what? In a couple of days.
Yeah. I think the training camps have literally about to start. Yeah, about to start like in a day or two, and then preseason is not far away. So it's a mini break. As a fan, for the fans, it's awesome. We get to see ball. So
so I don't know.
Yeah, I like that they kept Caruso, which I've been keeping up with on his social media. He's been balling out in terms of these runs, shooting threes off the dribble. So he's improved his game. Kuzma, I basically thought they would trade him to get another piece, but he's like $3 million.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but he's $3 million and roster, and you can't find a player like him for $3 million. Like he's very roster friendly, position friendly. Like you can't get rid of him unless you package him with something that you have already. And I don't see anyone else in the market that will make a difference as Kuzma is. So Kuzma was like the 6th or 7th man, right? And now he's become the 10th man, which is two things I look at. Everyone in Kuzma's year has signed a max contract, right? The top 5 players we mentioned last week. So you got Brandon Ingram, your buddy, the point guard for Sacramento, and then you got a couple of guys in his year, right? They've signed a max, so he's sitting back saying, "I'm on $4 million. These guys are on like 190." So for him,
he's got a ring. He's got a ring.
He has a ring, but the thing is, but the thing is, this year, if they're not going to play him, he's going to lose so much value, right? It's good for the Lakers to keep him. Like they probably can extend him for like a really cheaper margin, but as a career, it's not good for his career. Like if they can trade him to somewhere where he can play, right? Because you think about his averages, like in the first 2 years, his averages went up, but then he had to play behind AD this year. His averages dropped, right? And then he gets so much criticism because he's kind of a jack of all trades, like an average player of all trades. But in terms of if he increases his minutes, then he's a better player. So and like he's a young guy, right? He's still trying to figure out his game. So so Tezo Cruz, just Tezo Cruz, I like him for $3 million. Being a GM is like I made you money, but in terms of being in Cruz's camp, being his agent or in his camp, you're like, let's get somewhere we can play. Like he could get another championship for sure. But in terms of his value, like it's not gonna increase his value, right? His career, and he's not signed with Clutch, so that's another thing, right? He's not signed with Clutch.
Signed with Clutch Sports, and maybe you'll get somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. I think he had an opportunity. I think last year to sign with Clutch, but he chose not to. So this shows the partnership with Clutch and the Lakers. Yeah, it's crazy. Montrez he signed with Clutch. So he got $9 million. Apparently, no one wanted him. This is the feedback coming from the LA. So he was lucky to get that $9 million in the bubble. We're talking about Montrez now. He was very lacking. He couldn't stop anyone, but his grandma died. And he was really close to his grandma. So I think he's shown in the bubble wasn't him. And now that the teams didn't want him. I think this year, be playing LeBron, playing with AD, he's got the guys to back him. He's going to go off. Like if they start him or start him off the bench, he's going to be full attack.
He's got a better leader behind him.
Yeah, definitely. Like you think about the issues that the Clippers had. Um, he was the one that put PPG out. He called Kawhi out. He called the whole team out, saying that last year we played against Golden State the year before, and we took them to 6 games, and we played hard all the way, right? So then you got Kawhi and PG coming in, being pampered. Just we don't want to get too deep into the Clippers, or we want to I'll call them the other LA team, but we'll stop there on that. We'll save that for another segment. So the other player I wanted to talk to you about is Talonhorn Tucker. The rest of the team are talking about the bubble. Like he was lighting up everyone. He was the best player in the bubble at training. And there was 2 games where he played where I watched, and he looked like he had so much confidence, I guess, going against LeBron, going against all these guys at training, right? And being able to score on them and attack. I can see that one game where he scored, I think, above 10 points in garbage time. There was talk of him possibly getting more minutes this year, become a rotation player. But I think with all the signings, I don't see the space for it unless they cut Alex Caruso or Kuzma. But the window of the Lakers championship, right, is the window of LeBron's career. So I think he has a chance, but there has to be an injury or something. He's kind of a backup at the moment. He's a backup. He's not in the 10-man rotation. He's more like 11th man at the moment. Let's talk about Shooter. So Shooter reminds me a bit like Rondo. He hasn't got the years yet.
Yeah.
He hasn't got the years yet, but he's got the craftiness, creating his own shot, being a nuisance on defense, and averaging double digits coming off the bench, runner-up, 6th man of the year. Your thoughts on him?
That's a great pickup. That's a really great pickup. Can't say that he replaces Rondo straight like 1-for-1, but I think that's a great pickup because you've got a younger version who's willing to learn and they can provide younger legs. So I think that was a great pickup by the LA Lakers, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because if they want to sign Rondo, so the Hawks signed him for 15 mil. That's way too much in terms of what the Lakers wanted to do. They wanted the cap space, the flexibility. So in terms of that, like as long as LeBron's healthy, AD's healthy, I think they're going to the finals, especially with Klay Thompson not playing this year.
Yeah.
They just have to find out a way to stop the Joker, like with that Dwight. If they had a core piece, and then if the 76ers or get in the finals, they just need that. They have the bodies in place, definitely, and they still got one roster spot for a center. So there's a couple of guys out there that can bang bodies for the season, so they don't wear out their centers too much. But we'll see. The last thing I guess I wanted to talk about with the Lakers was AD hasn't signed yet. So there's
nothing to worry about that. Don't worry about that. Not worried about that.
Is there money? Is there money left? Unless he wants to go to New York for 25 mil, which is unlikely.
D-swizzle, don't even think about it. Don't worry about it.
We never know. But the key point I wanted to put through was there's talks of him waiting to see if Giannis signs the max. So if Giannis signs the max, I think AD will sign a max too, just to because the money's available. But if Giannis doesn't sign the max, there's talk of LeBron and AD trying to get Giannis to join the Lakers next year. Because if there's doubt, right? Because they have his brother. This is the whole reason why they signed his brother to a 2-way contract at $500,000 a year. He hasn't played, but he's holding the trophy like he's a champion. Yeah. So I think they signed his brother just to get Giannis in, right? Because he's a bit like Milwaukee. Milwaukee signed his older brother just to keep him happy, right? It's just minimal contract. Yeah. No disrespect to the Giannis brothers, but they're borderline NBA players. They haven't done anything in the G League. In the G League, they haven't dominated like they should to get into the edge, to get rotational minutes. So, what are your thoughts in terms of AD is a team guy, right? He can sign the max now, doesn't care for the team, but because he's holding off, right? I think he's really a key team guy. And think about LeBron. You think about LeBron, if he wins 2021, then he gets to 5. And if LeBron takes less money, he doesn't have to. But if he took less money, and then Giannis and AD get the max, and he can ride this to 7 championships or more. and then the debate about greatest champion, like he will have the rings to show for it, and he can play like a Magic Johnson role, just
Sure.
assist, and that's his game, right? Assist, and maybe score 10 points. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts about AD? Do you like my predictions here? Do you like Giannis signing with LA? Your thoughts?
Well, you're actually on point. I think that's what the story is coming out of LA in terms of that. But it's funny because I did see an interview with Giannis saying that he doesn't want to leave for a major city and he wants to stick it out in Milwaukee. So
Yeah,
maybe there's a change of heart now.
but we've seen,
So,
but we've seen a lot of players say that these statements like Kyrie, I'm going to stay in Boston. You know, like KD, I'm going to stay in OKC. I'll never join a super team. So,
sure.
yeah, Giannis is a different breed for sure because him being from Greece and Africa before that, I feel he's very family oriented, and the Bucks gave him his first chance. The Bucks have what you call signed Drew Holiday, so that's an upgrade. But key thing is by December, I think just before the season starts, around about midway December, if Giannis doesn't sign him before the season starts, that means he becomes a free agent next year. So we'll basically get into that, like in the Bucks review. But just quickly, if Giannis doesn't sign, do you trade him?
Well, if he's not going to be happy, what's the point of keeping him? And if you're going to get him, you have to get the max out of him. You're going to get at least 5-6 players, or if not, 2 big players and a couple of draft picks. Oh yeah, I mean he's an elite player. You're going to have to get the max out of him. So I think you're right. I think you're absolutely correct in your theory. I think he will. I mean, dude, once you get a max, who's not going to sign a max? So obviously there's something that he's thinking about, or there's something in the background that's been in the works, and I think that will predict what will happen in the next 2 to 3 years. But I think you're right with Giannis with the Lakers. I think you're correct with that.
Yeah, good. And you mentioned in the interview, right? He mentioned, he goes, like there was a commentator or the MC that asked him, you know, where would you like to sign? And he goes, LA. He mentioned LA because his brother's there. He goes, I love to play with all my brothers. So if he brings all the brothers to LA, and he mentioned LA, he didn't mention any other team. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting for sure.
Oh, that's a thing right there.
He mentioned this about 3-4 months ago. 3-4 months ago, remember that? So yeah, it's
still fresh. That's still fresh. Still fresh.
Yeah, so that's something to look out for, guys. So stay with us, and we'll basically keep you updated with that. So with the Lakers, I think we'll finish with that. What are your thoughts in terms of them repeating in 2021?
I think it's theirs for the taking the next 2-3 years, to be honest. And that's just, and I'm being generous. I'm being honest because, like I said, when you have LeBron in your team, he knows what moves to make. He will approve, disapprove any movements. And I think that they know that his window of opportunity is shrinking, and they will do whatever they can to try and get there. And I think if LeBron repeats, let's just sort of be very generous with this statement. But I think if he repeats, I think he's really going to go up there with the debate of the greatest of all time. But again, we'll have to see. I mean, by the time's undefeated, we don't know what will happen. Let's see the movements the next couple of days and weeks of what will happen, and especially next year, because next year is a big year too. So we'll see.
Yeah, because the way I see the Lakers moves is all good, regardless if they sign the old team or new guys. As long as the health of LeBron James and AD, that they don't have any major injuries, then they'll definitely be in the finals. That's how I see it. As long as their supporting cast can hold on to the season, and then they make it to the finals. Once the playoffs starts, they'll dominate, take over. But the main thing, key thing, we've seen many players get injured, but with LeBron, investing over $2 million Australian into his body, I'm pretty sure that AD being part of Clutch will basically get part of that too, and he will basically rehab his body, take care of himself, just like LeBron does. Because LeBron's 35 and he wants to play to his sons in the NBA. and Bronny's looking big, man. Just segue into where Bronny now. There's been clips of him working out with his father. Looks like he's grown to 6'2", 6'3", and and he's filling out. Like you look at his shirt, he's looking ripped like his dad. Like the body's coming through. So it'll be interesting. His his high school year this year. It'll be interesting his game. So he takes it to the next level because there's nothing for sure that says Bronny's going to make it to the NBA. Like he might bow out. You know what I mean? So we'll see. It'll be very interesting if LeBron can if LeBron can play to around that age where his son gets into the league. I'm pretty sure if there's a draft pick, Clutch will pick. If it's for the Lakers, they'll pick him for sure because it's GM LeBron. It'll be interesting for sure. Yeah. Just segue into a different pace. So on the weekend there was a bit of boxing. I'm not sure if you watched it, RJ.
I did. I watched a bit of it. I watched half of it.
So
the pre and the main event. I did.
So you got 3-time dunk champion. Nate Robinson played for the NBA for roughly 10 years. He was fighting Logan Paul, or that's his name on YouTube. This is Nate's first fight. Snoop Doggy Dogg was the commentator. It was awesome. I loved him as a commentator. Your thoughts, RJ, on the fight, Snoop, and the result?
I think Nate should stick to the big three. I don't know what he's thinking because apparently Logan Paul, whatever he's called,
both names.
He's got a bit of experience. He's got a bit of experience in fighting. So
he's been fighting for a couple of years.
Why would you take someone on? Apparently he says, I'm representing the NBA. I don't think the NBA wants to be represented by you. I think they got knocked out cold, dude. Like the second knockout was so brutal. I was like, dude, he was out cold. He's gone.
Yeah.
I felt sorry for the guy, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It was definitely a concern to see him get up. Like when watching the highlights on YouTube, I just wanted to make sure he got up. It's so dangerous getting hit in the head. So, yeah, your final thoughts with the fight. How about Snoop Doggy Dogg?
Yeah.
Did you like Snoop's color commentary?
Oh man, anytime Snoop's in the building, man, it's always entertaining. It's always fun. You know what I mean? Like, I'm laughing at it, but I'm also worried for Nate when I was watching it. I'm thinking, dude, like, you have to pull something out of the bag to beat this guy. And the first knockout, when he got knocked out, I was like, that's okay, you know. But the second was so good. Got him right on the chin. I'm pretty sure it was in the chin, right? Yeah. He was out, dude. I'm like, oh, it's over. It's done. And then the main event, right?
Yep.
Dude, I was, I'm still hyping it up because, again, I knew Roy Jones back in the day, when he was fighting, when he was signed with Brian Jordan. And then, of course, Mike Tyson. I mean, dude, the most savage fighter you've ever seen. Yeah. And then when these guys fought, there was so much, especially with Tyson's training, there was so much, amp about his training. He was like, oh, dude, this guy's a beast for his age and whatnot. But you know what? What didn't skip my mind was I thought it could be a draw. I did not think about that. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh. It's like, I wanted someone knocked out. Look, I like both of them. I don't want them to get knocked out, but it was a draw. I was a bit disappointed. I expected someone to most likely Tyson, to be honest with you, to knock Jones out. But you could tell age has really hit them. Father Time is still undefeated, and those guys have really passed their prime. They're doing it pretty much, just to fill time. It's a payday. It's a payday, yeah. But a bit disappointed, I gotta say.
Yeah, when they were fighting, I was actually more concerned. Like, usually when I watch boxing matches, you can see, these guys are 20, 30, or whatever the age they are, but they're at peak of their condition, right? So you don't even worry about that. But these two guys are 50-something, and then I was like, man, I hope no one gets hurt so bad that it could cost them their life. So when I watched that, I was more concerned about that than watching the fight for the fight. So and then just finish on the Nate fight. Do you think it's worth it? He got paid $500,000 for that fight, getting knocked out 3 times. Question is, would you do it for $500,000?
Well, from what I'm thinking,
he doesn't need the money, right? So he's
Hell.
he's a
To
10-year
get
vet
knocked out cold
NBA.
and humiliated in front of
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah,
He doesn't need the money. He still plays in the big three. He
yeah,
still plays in the big three.
yeah.
So I don't understand. And he still plays good, Nate Robinson. So
Yeah, Nate.
I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, Nate's been trying to get back in the limelight. He shows up on a lot of social media and a lot of channels. I think
Mm.
yeah, I was reading just to go off a segment. I was reading about Ben Wallace when he finished his career. Like he had some depression, right? So maybe that's part of it where these players didn't think about their next career because they always thought that they always play NBA basketball. They thought they always make a roster. So you maybe just touching on
Yeah.
that. I think that's the reason, right? Like, you think about when you play NBA, the fans, the girls, the drama, and then when you retire the next day, if you haven't set yourself up, like rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Like Kobe Bryant has a business, he has this, he has academy, he has so many things to fill up his time. Like same as Dwayne Wade. You look at LeBron, you look at all the big players that they have all these things in place to help them through like a post career. Yeah, so I think that yeah, that's definitely something that the NBA players should push for, and the associations, the agency, I mean, and the reps and
Yeah.
stuff. So they need to take care of these players mentally. You know, to be a superstar one day and not a superstar the other day, it's not hard. But yeah, great chat about the Lakers. I definitely think they will take it out again this year if they're all healthy. Any final words, RJ?
Back to back, baby.
Back to back,
Yeah.
baby. Definitely.
Hey,
Yeah.
stay in tune. Back to back. They're gonna win it. Yeah. I don't care what the Clippers do. They ain't gonna do nothing, dude. Like, I'm sorry. I think they're slightly weaker now. I don't think any of their pickups. I mean, Serge, I would say is better than Montrez.
Yep, definitely.
But let's just say the gelling, the cohesiveness of the team, that's a big factor. Doc's not in the lineup, so we'll see what sort of system they'll put in place. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think.
And they're missing because the Montrez was very vocal, and like the key word was he had the dog in him, right? Like he just fired people up, fired the team up. I don't think they have that anymore. They have that in Pat Bev, but yeah, what we hear is Kawhi rather wants a playmaker like CP3 if he was available. So, anyways, yeah, same as me. I basically think LA is gonna take it out back to back if there's no injuries. Yeah, so that's it for the segment, guys. So like this video.
Just anything in there.
Yep.
Watch out. Look out for Phoenix this year, guys. Phoenix. Top 5.
That's my team. Like I've supported them since Steve Nash.
Get out of here, man.
Hey, that's my team. You look at my NBA membership. The only team that I follow is Phoenix. But I only like them when they had Steve Nash.
Oh man.
Steve Nash time. Anyway, guys, that's it for the video. Catch us up on the next video where before the season starts, or we're basically going to go through every team. So like, subscribe. RJ, any last words?
Tune into the next episode, guys. It's gonna be fun. See you guys later.
Look out for more merch. We're basically going to do more prototypes, samples, and then we'll basically release them out for sale. And hopefully you can support our channel and purchase some merch. Later, guys.